Hey ladies, so I want you to understand your body best, and today I wanted to give you 5 symptoms to watch out for to know whether or not you're ovulating and when you're ovulating. So, ovulation typically happens in the middle of your cycle. So, if day 1 is the day that you first bleed, you first have a period, and day, let's say 28, which is typical, is the day before you first have your period, then usually ovulation happens somewhere in the middle. Around day 14 is ideal, but not everybody's cycle is ideal. So these are a few different things to watch out for to know when you're ovulating, which means that your fertility is at its peak. So usually that's around day 14, like I said. But the first thing to watch out for is to see if you have any abdominal pain that kind of comes out of nowhere. Usually for women, it's in the lower area of the abdomen, so just underneath the hip bone, and it's usually on one side. So it typically will feel like an ache, but it feels very different than a menstrual cramp. It sometimes will affect bowel movements or affect your urination, but typically it's just an odd sensation or ache or cramp that people feel in the middle of their cycle. Like I said, lower abdomen and on one side typically. Can be either side though. The other thing that you might notice is a change to your cervical mucus. So a lot of women will have discharge vaginally, but at around this time of the cycle, you're going to see that the type of discharge that you have is more of an egg white consistency as opposed to your typical discharge. And some women will actually experience more discharge. So it could be a change in the type of discharge, or it could be more discharge that you notice. The next thing that you might see is an increase in your sex drive. And this makes a lot of sense from an evolutionary standpoint. Your body wants you to get pregnant at this time. This is when you're ovulating, you're releasing the egg, and so your sex drive might increase. You may notice that you're wanting to have intercourse more around this time, so watch out for that one as well. The next thing that can happen is your body temperature can spike, and usually this happens after ovulation, like around the day after ovulation, and you wouldn't notice it other than if you were actually monitoring it. So I have a lot of my patients actually take their temperature every single morning before they get out of bed. It's called basal body temperature, and what you're looking for is a peak in your temperature, a spike in your temperature. Usually that happens after you actually ovulate. All right, so it tells us that ovulation has happened as opposed to predicting that ovulation is going to happen. The next thing that you might notice is some light spotting. So some women don't have this at all. Actually, a lot of these symptoms, not every symptom, you may not get every symptom, but you may notice just a little bit of blood on your underwear or a panty liner around that time of the month. So if that happens, that's probably telling you that you're ovulating. And then you may also have some changes to your bowel movement. So you may be more constipated or have more loose stool or just kind of have like a bit of an unsettled stomach around that time. So that's another thing that you could look out for. And the final one that's common is breast tenderness or breast soreness. So if you're feeling like running or doing any kind of intense activity is causing soreness of your breasts, or putting on that bra is really like you're wanting to not use an underwire bra and maybe just use a regular bra, then that might be, or like without a wire, right? Then that might be a signal to you that it might be ovulation time. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that you have something more to understand your body a bit better, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.